Yeah, hi there. Here we are. It's Friday again, and look at that. What are those things going across there, and on the other side too, across there. Well, I went from the disaster to maybe it's okay again this week. Some excitement in the shop, and like Henry's garage, he would have said when the doors didn't fit, he would have said, "Well, that's disappointing," and indeed, that was disappointing. So I know that you were all yelling at me at the screen when I was taking the doors off it and starting to cut away at that stuff down below here. There, you were likely yelling, make sure you brace the car so it holds at the same place. Well, there you go. I didn't, but now it is. So to put the doors on, they didn't fit, of course. And so if you want to stick around and see how I remedied it all, please do. Anyhow, there's a few other little things like I fixed up in the trunk and stuff like that, but most of the week was resurrecting what I did wrong. But I think I'm back to doors that fit now, and they actually look pretty good when they're on there. So, hope you enjoy it all, and see you next time. Where am I at? Excuse me. I've been working on that door over there. I'll show you that in a minute. But then while I'm waiting for things to dry over there, there was a little spot of rust here, so I drilled it out with my step drill. And then this piece here will just sort of fit right in there, like that. One of those little things I make with my little machine there that make it custom told me how to do it. So I'll just tip it a bit like that, give it a spot weld or tack weld on it, and then excuse me, I weld it in and grind off this side flat. That should work out all right. I'll show you. Yeah, there it is. That's pretty good and smooth. I'll just put a little bit of that metal to metal stuff on there and then smooth it off and it'll be good. That's done. Now I'll show you what I was doing over here. I got the welder in the way. I'll get that out of the way here soon. So I've on to about coat number 4 of this stuff here. There was just a small hollow left in a couple of spots, so I figured, well, I might as well do it. And so a little bit more sanding work to do on this door, and it'll be done. Yeah, there it is. I think that door is pretty well done. We'll sand it down to like 400 or 500 or 600 or something like that. And then it's ready for prime time. But I won't do any more sanding on it today. Yeah, that's enough for today. The doors are ready to go, I think. This side here is ready to go. That side there is pretty well ready for prime. A little bit more sanding to do on that right there. Have to still fix up there with the body filler. So then I went and along the back edge, right along that edge, there was a little tiny bit of pitting on there. So I cleaned it off really well, and then I just put a coat of black rust paint on it over the top of it. And I'll put a primer coat over that and carry on. See how that works out. This thing here is ready to go. That side's ready to go. I have to take the trunk lid, the boot lid, and clean the paint off that, I think. And then I'll be... Don't know what I'll do about this back part here yet. It's from all the paint on all the car, this stuff here actually looks all right. Maybe they didn't put a coat of whatever the last paint was that went on there. Who knows? So I might just have to sand that down so it's rough enough to take primer, and then that'll be good. Yeah, here it is. Time to make some more dust in here, I guess. That's all I need is more dust in here. There's lots of dust in here. So I've cleaned off most everything paint-wise using the grinder. Now whether that's right or wrong, who knows? Well, somebody might know, but I don't know. So I'm going to now like I still have to do something about this back area here. It actually looks pretty good, so it's a shame to do anything about it, but I will. And then, but today I'll clean the paint off of this boot lid. Now, the first I have to take that out of there somehow or other, so I'll figure that out. Yeah, I thought that was a lot easier said than done, but it's not really too tough after all. This thing here, which is the latch for the door, it just 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, that comes off. There's a lights here for license plate, and there's another light here for the interior of the trunk. And then this thing here, which is, I said to myself, that's an awful lot easier said than done to get that out of there, because there's no obvious way to get it out. So what it is this little clippy thing here slides when you're going to go, when you got to get it out of there, it slides in and holds it. I'll show you if I can do that. There, it's out. But when it's in there, so it comes through the door, and then that slides over it, and that just holds it on there. So I was able to reach in from this side here with a reasonably long screwdriver and just give it, see in there, just give it a push, and it pushed off. And that was easy, easier than I thought, because I was trying to figure out if there was a nut or a bolt or anything holding onto it, but there wasn't. So there you go. Yeah, there we go. There was some, surface rust in along that edge there. So I took the grinder and I grinded it up. Then I wire brushed it. Then I put this rust paint on there just to cover it over, and then later I'll put a coat of green on top of that. We'll just see how it works out. This inside of the trunk here is mostly pretty good. I just have to clean it up a bit, and then I'll throw a coat of paint on it and see what it looks like. Yeah, there we go. So I sanded it for a while with that automatic sander there, and then that was all just getting gummed up with the old paint, so I figured I'll just take the grinder to it. But if you take the grinder to it and grind off the paint, you get kind of a rough finish, because that's fairly heavy grit. But then after you're done, if you take that thing to it with a 60 on it, it comes out real nice smooth finish, so it's good for, I'll just give it a cut once over with like 320, and then it'll be ready for priming. So this part must be not from this car, because there's no dents in it anywhere. And that's the first panel that hasn't had a dent in it. I guess maybe that panel there didn't have any dents in it either. So 2 panels on the whole car that didn't have any dents. Hey, good deal. Yeah, there we go. I took the compressed air and blew all the dust away from the corners, and then vacuumed it out and blew all the dust out the doors. There's still lots of dust everywhere you look, but not a 1/4 inch thick anymore. So I'll clean it up, slowly clean it up. Then I've got some more sanding to do up here. Where do I have sanding to do? I saw it over here. Got more sanding to do here, around there, and so I'll do that before I do a final cleanup, and then I'll clean up good in here, see if I can get the thing primed. Good for prime time, eh? See. Yeah, there I dusted all the shop out, cleaned it out. Maybe did I show you that? I don't know. Anyhow, it's clean. Now I got to make a thing for in here. It's just sort of, I'll just put it in there with silicone to hold it down, I think. And I cleaned off the back. That's where is it? Right there, yeah. So I cleaned off the back of that all the way along there. Took the paint off there. And it's all, again, an unblemished panel. So to make that thing there, I found a thing that would be just the right size, which is just that grinding wheel there is just the right size. So now I've traced it onto here, and I'll see if I can cut that out somehow. Yeah, there we go. So I've been cutting just straight cords. I'll take the grinder and just cut that cord there and that cord there, and then it'll be all out. Then I'll go on onto the big grinder there and get the circle made, I hope. Yeah, there it is so far. It's not a perfect circle yet, but I'll go and take it and over on this grinder here and just cut off those edges, or grind off those edges, and see if I can make a nice circle out of it. I'll report back. Yeah, there it is, mostly a circle now. A little bit flat right there, but I think that won't matter. I'll just go and see if it'll fit. Yeah, that's where it's supposed to be, right there. So there's the hole. I just got to I'll clean the edges of that a bit. I'll put this in, silicone it in, then it'll be in there, and I'll get some stuff to put over the top of it, like that black stuff there. Yeah, there we go. That's enough for today. I've cleaned off all the paint on this thing, put a little bit of that metal to metal stuff in there, and I have that piece in there, and then I use that metal to metal stuff, fiberglass, just to hold that in there, and that'll be there. That'll be good. Then this back here is all, well, mostly cleaned off. Didn't find any dents, serious dents. There's a bunch of spot welds here that are factory, so I'll just leave them be. And I suppose I could smooth them out if I wanted to. I'll think about it. But otherwise, it's on the back here is in good shape. So I think I've got everything cleaned off pretty good now. Now I'll have to just take a 60 grit to the whole body to make it smooth, and then I'll do the whole body with 320 or something, and that'll make it so it's ready for primer. Yeah, so there now it's a new day, eh? So I sanded off all this stuff that I did yesterday. That feels pretty good there now, and that does too. Then I've got this thing done in the trunk down there, and that's solid in there. So I'll paint up this stuff in here. I'll give it a little bit of a dust off with the grinder, and then I'll paint it up with black just to make it covered, and I'll clean up any of this rusty stuff here and paint that black just to get a coat of something on there. Then we're pretty near getting close to prime time, right? But I got to put the doors on and see if they fit. Hey, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? We'll see. Yeah, there, that's very black. So I'll likely paint that over with, like I'll put primer on over that, and then I'll paint it all green in there. Except there's this thing here that covers that is supposed to be black, and a couple other things, so that it'll look sharp. There you go. Yeah, looks like Houston has a problem here. So that gap shouldn't be that big with the door on there. The gap up here is reasonable, but not great. And it's not right there, so it should be lifted up a little bit more. So what I have to do, is somehow straighten it out so that it works right, eh? How will I do that? I'll have to think about that. I guess I'll be getting the wheels and putting them on, and see if I can get it to sag in the middle a bit. Oh dear me. Yeah, so that's just a little bit disappointing. Suppose I should have been more careful. But it is what it is, or I've done what I've done, so I'll see if I can get it right. Yeah, so here's a bit of a plan. I'll build a tool that goes from there across to the front there at the top of the door. And that'll be, then I'll put a turnbuckle thing into it so that I can pull it tighter or let it looser. I'll do the same on this side here and see if I can, then I'll have to release the pressure on this bottom portion here, which I think should let it go and pull them in. Then weld it all back together and hopefully it'll be okay. Well, we'll just see. Yeah, so in real life, there's how much it's off. Quite a bit. So, I know a long time ago, when I was starting to weld back there and putting it together, I said to myself, I really should go and put those doors on there and make sure it all fits together with the doors on. Well, hindsight is 120 by 20, but I guess you live and learn. Nothing like learning lots. This door here is even more troublesome than that door there, but I think that this is solvable too. So anyway, I guess just carry on. Yeah, there now I've got this gap. Whoops, where am I? I got this gap here, pretty consistent all the way through. And then I've got this gap here, pretty consistent all the way through. Where am I? I just put a couple of washers behind the top here. So that means that this gap here, got to come up about that much, hey? I'll see what I can do about that. Interesting. Don't you know, don't you know? Yeah, so I've welded that on there and on up there. Now the door will close, well, close as it gets to closing, with that in there. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cut a chunk of it, seeing as it's, you know, it's level. I'll put it on level, right? Level. And so I'm gonna cut out a chunk about that big, and I'm gonna put a bolt across there so I can loosen it and tighten it. See what that'll work out like. Yeah, so there's the puller. I cut a piece out of here, then I put a piece of angle iron there, and that'll squeeze it together. I've already squeezed it together a little bit, and it's made a move, and that's without doing anything. So what I have to do now is lift the car up, and I think just likely release this sheet here for the most part, and then cut a relief in there and see what it does. Maybe I'll cut a relief there and a relief up there somewhere. Oh, see what happens. So I'm just going to work on this door first. So it's welded on here and it's welded on up there. Just going to work on this side first because the other side has more challenges due to the reconstruction I did there. But I guess we'll solve those challenges when we get there. If I can get this door to close, it'll be the low-hanging fruit. If I can get it to close, I'll just close the door after I get it done, and then take off my rigging, see if it holds, and carry on. Yeah, so there now, here I am again. So remember the other day when I said, I think I'm done welding? Well, that's a silly thing to say, isn't it? Anyhow, this is fairly close to right there, but it's coming, this thing here is gapped out. So what's happened now is I've pulled the car together with this device that I welded on here. Now I'm going to loosen that off, and I'm going to open the door, loosen that off, and I'm going to go over to the other side and weld the same thing on over there. Then the good news is there's good news out of this story. The good news is that the welding that I did underneath there to put structure together in the car must be pretty damn good because it won't bend. So I think I have to open it up here at the front. Oops, there, I'm knocking stuff over. I have to open it up right around there somewhere and cut that. There's a strength piece right in there that I should cut out of there, and that'll let this bend up, because I think it's just right here that it's gotta, like, the whole thing's gotta bend up a bit, maybe a bit at the back there. I won't worry too much about the back bit. Like, I might have to cut that strength piece there too and just make it bend properly. Put it back together, weld it all up, and then say, whoa, I think I'm done welding. Well, we'll see. Anyhow, I'll do that. I'll get started. Yeah, there's slide number 2 in place with the, I can crank that down and tighten it. If I needed to go the other way, I just put a nut on there and push it that way, so you can go both ways with it. That one there is on, welded at the front, welded at the back. This one's on, welded at the front, welded at the back. Now, how come I didn't put these on before I started taking it all apart? Well, the dashboard was still in the car, and and I didn't think I needed it, but I guess we do. Anyhow, I'll get at it. Yeah, so here I'll give you another reason why I didn't have these things in the first place. Because I'm dumb. That's why. Anyway, carry on. I'll try to be smarter next time. This thing here, the plan is I'll cut out this little chunk here. I've got it cut here, and that's, I don't know what's behind there for sure. But I want to get into that strength piece in there and see if I can then cut it off at the bottom so the thing will bend up at the, like the A-frame thing comes down here. So I wanted to be able to cut it there somewhere. Then that may mean I have to take some of this off, which I just was so proud of. It's so nice. Oh well. Yeah, so here I am down by the floor. Now, it appears that has pulled that whole business up about an eighth of an inch or more. So I think if I go and I weld that together, that'll hold it from falling back down again, maybe. But first, before I do anything, I'll leave it like that so the door opens and closes. The gap here looks good. The gap at the bottom is pretty damn skinny, but if you open the door, it just pops open and closes, so that's as good as it was before. Anyway, might be okay. This gap here is pretty consistent. I won't cut into the back end of it here. I think I could cut into it and shift that a little bit too, but I think that it's okay if I can get this to hold the way it is. First though, I'll go and I'll cut it all apart over there and see if I can get that door to sit right or close, because there's more issues with that door because of all the other repair works I did. I'll show you when I get there. There now, see what I can do about the other side now. I'm going to leave this side all the way it is. I've got it tightened down, and it seems to, like, the door opens and closes. This bit here, which is a safety thing for accidents, I think, it gets in there pretty tight, but this part here, which is where it closes on, seems to close really nice. So I'll let it be for now, and I'll go to the other side and see if anything helps when I straighten the other side. There, now I've cut that out, so that's the strength piece is cut across there, and now hopefully I can just lift that back end up again. See what happens. Right now it's a pretty tight fit, so it's liable to hopefully come up with about an eighth of an inch in there. So here's a problem here, like the door is this lip here is too high, so I'll have to address that. I think I can just cut a piece out here and push that down, and that'll make that work. I'll just see what I can do. Yeah, now this door here is closed now, but the gap here is pretty significant. I think that, well, the gap at the front is very narrow, so it's got to shift this way a little bit, and then we'll see how it goes. This door is different than the other door. It's it doesn't have that thing for holding it in an accident. And then it's not, down at the bottom there, it's not right. That's got to come up, but at the top it's got too much here, unless I've got that fender too low, but I don't know. I think I got the fender the same as the other side. I'll check on that. We'll just see. Yeah, so this door is slightly different than that door. That's the one that came with the car. This one here is from a different year. This door here is a 1/4 inch shorter than that door there. So then you get a bigger gap here, of course. And it's 1/8 of an inch taller than that door there. So you get a bigger gap right there. That one on the other side has got about a 1/4 inch right here. And this one here's got, 3/8. So what do you know, eh? Now, how can I solve all them problems? I guess I'll just start working on it. Yeah, so this side here, this is the passenger side, right-hand side. Now, that gap there looks good. The gap at the bottom looks good. This gap here is okay. So now, what I'll do, I think, is I'll weld that up down there, and then I'll just see if that holds it. If it doesn't hold it, I'll have to go to the back and do some on the back too. So we'll see what happens. The other side there, the other side had all that accident damage to start with, and then added on this. So this gap here is pretty wonky. Now I remember when I took it apart, there was a lot of body fill right in here. So I think that was some of the accident damage from before that was never ever properly addressed. So I might have to just take it, cut it out in here and take out that strength piece again, and then pull this up a little bit to see if it'll make it fit better. But it gets to, well, the door is just a bit too long for the jamb, right? Down here. And I didn't change this down here. And too short for the jamb up there, so something's wrong. There's a piece missing. Where is the piece of the puzzle that's missing? And I guess I gotta solve that. Yeah, there that's all welded together again there. Now, this piece here also creates some strength, and then the outside piece creates some strength, but I'm gonna let it down and just see what happens. Yeah, so just about there. This part here, got to come up a bit more yet. And I think I have to do it at the back end here just to give that a twist up. Because it looks, at the bottom of the door, looks pretty good. So I'll cut this bit out here, take out that, whoops, where am I pointing? Bottom of the door looks pretty good for a gap there. So I'll take out this bit here, cut that strength piece, and see if I can pull that up and then re-weld the strength piece. See what happens. Yeah, so there is a path to success. You see that stuff down there, I was grinding away or cutting away, and I cut right through my fuel line. Interesting. Anyhow, this thing here was, so I cut that strength piece out, and it's welded in again there now. And then it was buckling here when I was pulling on it with this. It was buckling right here. So I gave it a relief there and let it come forward a bit. And now that's loose there. There's no tension on that. And look, I couldn't get much better fit if I really tried hard. That's a lovely fit. So I'll be happy with that. I have some adjustment up front here. I've got a couple of washers in down there that I can pull out. That'll bring the whole door a little bit forward. This is pretty consistent all the way. Oops, sorry. This is pretty consistent all the way up here. If I pull the door a little bit more forward, that'll just make that a little bit tighter. This thing here is good. Down here, there's a nice fit at the bottom of the door. So I'm happy. I'll just weld this side back together and be happy with it before it goes anywhere. Yay. Now, in fact, you couldn't ask for a better fit than that. Yeah, a little bit of adjustment up here. You can pull it out a bit with the adjusters. Anyway, now the other side, which is interesting. So I'm going to have to cut in down there again, cut away all that stuff and see if I can move that back a bit, make the door, get the door to fit into that hole. The hole isn't big enough for the door to start with, and but it's too big for the door up here. I'll see what I can do about getting that rectified. That'll be a tomorrow project because today is done today. Yay though, I'm happy there. Now this thing here, oh yeah, that'll look alright. That'll be okay when it's painted. Won't be perfect, but it'll be pretty damn good. Like that gap there is good, that gap there is good. Everything's suitable. Got a bunch of grinding to do on there. Yeah, that looks all right down that way. Okay, we're good. Yeah, here I am. So, new camera here today I have to get used to. It's pretty, very, it's a big picture now. We'll just see how it works out. Anyhow, yesterday I was able to get the door to here to fit, and it looks pretty good. I have some adjustment to do up here yet. I'm fairly happy with that. Not completely happy with that, but that's about as good as it's going to be, I think. The adjustment at the back, that's pretty tight along there. This will pull that way a little bit because I can adjust it that way a bit, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And it holds like that. It doesn't require. I can open the door and close the door. Yeah. Famous last words, eh? There. See, I can open said door. And this thing here, there's no tension on that anymore. Close said door. And that's the way it should be. Anyway, so I'll carry on to the other side today. I'm going to see what I can do about. See, this is a big gap here. Big gap here. Small gap there. So the whole thing's got a, I don't know how it's got to go. It's got to go this way, right? That has to come this way, and this has to go that way. That way, and that way. This camera here sure does get things close up. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, so here now, that's focusing on my finger. Damn camera. Oh well. Can't point. Now, this line that's on there, it's a line that I put on underneath the door when I had the door mounted on there. So now I guess I got to cut that out along there and lower this lip to that level there. There you go. So that'll be a bunch of cutting and grinding there. And then this end here, like in here, this bit here comes very close to the door, so it's got to be moved back about here somewhere. And then this part here has got to come that way some. But I think I'll be able to move this back all right. I can just sort of cut that and re-sculpt that in there. And then see what I can do about the rest of it. Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, there now. I've switched back to my old camera. So, what have I done? I've got measurements from like here to here, we're getting close to that measurement there. I went and so I cut this line all the way along here to be able to push that down because that's too high. Then I've got to, where am I at now? Then next I cut a line in here and along there, sort of cut the body line there so that I can pull this up around. Then I'll weld this all back together afterwards. And the outside too. And see if that'll make things a little bit better. Right now, I'm just a 1/4 inch off. I need to pull it that way more. I need to pull this thing here 1/4 inch that way. And that'll make everything, that'll make the right measurement from here to here. Then a matter of getting this part here right, which would be, whoops, where am I? This part here right, which would be difficult. Oh, now I'm going to just put the door on. It's sitting over there. I'm just going to put the door on, see if it's getting any closer to being where it should be. And then I'll figure out what to do next. Well, there now. Don't know if that's good management or good luck. Eh? I think it's more good luck than anything else. So, I've got that tightened down pretty good, and I've got some cuts in there for relief. But it seems to be that it fits. Like everything goes. I had to push this down because it was in the way. But mostly I can just push that down and get that. That'll just line up together if I can get that cleaned up there a bit. Then this has got to get out to here, which I've done. A little bit of pounding on it. Then this thing here has to get welded back together properly, and then up there welded, and then a few other weld spots. But otherwise, look at that. Closes, hey? Closes. That gap there will be okay when I get it fixed up. This one here, like that's just not right, hey? I wonder if that was a difference in the doors. Because there's differences in these doors from year to year. Might be a little bit wider here on the door, on the top one there. I'll just check that, hang on. Yeah, so that door on the other side is just a little bit longer here, but there's a pretty big gap here that doesn't show up on the other side. And then, yeah, the gap is right down to 0 here. So, I'll see if I can pull that around a bit more without ruining something, eh? You never know what'll happen. We'll see. Yeah, there I did tighten it up a bit more. So this gap along here is very nice. A little bit extra gap up here, and I think I have to live with that because it's starting to bind on the thing there. Now, what I could do is I could put a little piece of metal in here to make that narrower, but you can't really do anything about the top here to make that gap right. So I'll likely just live with it the way it is. It feels good, like it's right there. It's right. It's right up there. Now that's got to be good luck, eh? And then this gap here, that's really good. Like that's better than the other side. The other side's got a bit of a gap there, but I can adjust that. I can make some adjustments on this gap here by lifting the bottom of the door up a bit, I think, or dropping the front top of the door. That'll work. I'll get that sorted out. So I'm going to tighten that up a little bit extra tight, weld it all back together, and then see if the door still closes, hey? And now it's time to start putting it back together. So I'm going to weld this piece here. That moved up about 1/8 of an inch in there behind. So I'm just doing like a lap weld on top of it here. And then this part here, this floorboard here comes down and touches on that right at the edge there, and that'll make it so it fits right at the door. And then I'll start putting it together back there too. See what happens. Yeah, here we go, we're getting it back together. So I've got that re-welded there, tacked together there, and I blew through that, so I had to cut out a little bit there to put a new piece in. Anyhow, but I think the door, when I let the pressure off of this, the door will fit, I hope. That's what happened to the other side. What I did was I pulled it up so the door was tight, or I pulled it up so the door fit, and then I tightened this up again some more so the door would just sort of hit on there, it wouldn't hit on this thing here, it wouldn't close just right. So that when I release the pressure on that, it'll release a bit and then the door will just fit. That's what happened over there anyhow. Hopefully it'll happen here too. Anyway, that's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, so here's where I left off yesterday. I cut that little bit out of there because it was getting a bit, I tried fixing it, but it was burning through. So I'll put another little piece of metal in here. This thing here, I've got that down pretty good. I'm gonna finish welding this seam along here, fix up that, then I'll put the door in before I do any more down there. Pretty sure the door will fit okay now. Well, never sure, but I think the door will fit okay now. This thing here's got, I don't know that that's holding much pressure anymore. We'll let it loose before I put the door on and then see how it works out. Yeah, there, so I made that little piece to go in there. Just welded it on the inside and looks like that on the outside. And it just sort of fits into that slot there. Pretty damn right. So I'll weld that in. That'll be that fixed up again. I noticed that this was not quite right, so I straightened it out, or tried to get it straight, and I'll get it to weld in next to that somehow or other. I figured, are they pointing there? Yeah, this thing here. This part here was bent, so I've straightened it out somewhat. Still bent there, I think. I can't check the other side because the door is on there. Anyhow, but I'll see what I can do about getting it in there and welding it up. Yeah, there, I think I've welded up enough stuff to have it hold solid. I welded this strength piece back in. Side where I cut it on the inside, I welded it. Welded all this stuff up. Did I weld it up on below? I forget. I'll take a look. I might have to do a bit more welding underneath there. I'll take a look. So again, we'll have to discuss good luck or good management, but there's no tension on that anymore. And don't you know, that all looks pretty good all the way along there. This gap here, I want to come up a bit on the back here. See that little tiny bit up? So I'm going to put a spacer in the front on the bottom, and that might cure a couple of other little problems. Like here, it's a little bit close, eh? So I want that to come up just a bit. Otherwise, it's all right. So I'll try and put a spacer in there and see what happens, and show you after that. But so far, pretty pleased. See, now this gap here, that's a bit wide, that gap, but I don't think I can do anything about it. Suppose I could. Well, if I try and push the door back this way more, the sill jams. So, or the where it. Oh, what do you call that? Where it, whatever this is called here, jams on that, where it doesn't hit right. So I can't really bring the door back this way more, or much more. A little bit more I can. I'll put a couple of spacers in the bottom over there and show you. There, that's about right across there. And the top, this part here, is about the same. There's a little bit of a same idea on the other side. It comes to here and then jumps up for whatever reason. Can you see that? Yeah. So this fender comes to here and then jumps up. Don't know why. That's how it is. Same on the other side. Now down here, this corner, it's catching on the inside when I open it up, so I have to go in there and cure that, which is curable. But otherwise, this gap here, looking okay. Needs to be cleaned up over there. So, success. Doors are on and they work, and that's good. That makes me, I know at the beginning of the week it was a bit of a disaster, but I guess all disasters can get solved somehow or other. So we'll be happy with it the way it is, and I'll carry on. I'll put all that stuff that I had so nicely done, I'll put it back together and see if I can make it just as nice again. Yeah, there now. I had the door off, and then I pounded this down so that it would fit in here. This bit here fit into it when it opens, which seems to work quite well now. No trouble. Then when I was also in there, I was adjusted it up, and there it's closed, and it comes that line there comes along very, very adequately. Like, it's not perfect, but I'm going to be happy with it. And then this line here, like I'm happy with that line there. The other side, not quite as good on this line, but close enough. Anyway, there, I'll take the doors off and I'll start welding it back together. Yeah, there now, both the doors are off, so I'll run it back up and start fixing the damages that I did. That right there is okay now. Good old that there. Yeah, so now I have to put the piece back in here, but I kept the piece, like, I'm pretty, I'll try that again. Take two. So I kept the piece that I cut out of there, and it should just slide back in, I hope. That part there, I just have to weld that up again, see if I can get it to come together nicely. There's a little patch to put in back there, but I might do a little bit of cutting back there because it's not exactly right. If you see right on there, there's a slope like this, and on the other side of the car, which hasn't been severely damaged, it's got a little bit of a slope like that, but more to the corner and then in. So I'll see if I can fix it up so that it fits the door a little bit better. Now look at that, hey? Didn't even notice that. I crumpled this when I was working on all that stuff. So I'll have to uncrumple that. There you go. Yeah, there I've flattened that out again. I just cut a relief cut in there and pounded it back in so that then I'll weld that closed. So then what I decided I better, whilst I'm working on it still, I just put a little bit of tension on these so that it's not gonna shift anymore again, I hope. And I'll get it put back together. Like, there's a bit of, I don't know what happened here, whether that was from me doing this or must be. That kind of just gave way right there. So I'll fix that too. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, there you go. That's that side there. That side there. That bit put back together. I still have to weld down along that edge there. Right through there. And weld up that crack I put in it there. Now I put some tension on those. I don't think I mentioned this. I put some tension on those bars just while I'm putting it back together to make sure nothing falls apart. And it seems to be coming together okay. All the pieces that I cut out just sort of fit right back in. Anyway, that's it for today, and that's it for this week. It's a Friday, and I guess I'll get a movie out for you guys, and went from disaster to not such a bad disaster. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed it all, and I'll see you next week.